We are here in the Lincoln Heights community at the Macedonia Church of Charlotte, here at 1300 Hatteras Avenue. We welcome you here tonight to have a candid conversation with our Mecklenburg County Sheriff. As you know that there are many issues that are going on within our city concerning crime, etc. But as we know, if we keep up, we understand that the work of our Mecklenburg County Sheriff, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, that we are seeing a decrease in crime as recently as the 24th. So therefore, we are open for this conversation and welcome, Sheriff, to the Lincoln Heights community and the Macedonia Church. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor. And good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sheriff McFadden.
Good evening.
Thank you all for joining us. This is a community conversation. I'm Christy Puckett, and I have the honor of guiding tonight's discussion. This is not a debate, it is a dialogue. Our goal is to create space for honesty, accountability, and shared vision. We are here to talk about what public safety truly means for the people of Mecklenburg County and how we can build systems grounded in dignity and trust. So we're going to...
Thank you.
We'll start with some guided questions that I will ask the sheriff, and then we'll move into some community reflections where you have the opportunity to share your hopes for the future for the sheriff's office. Before we get started, I think it's important that I share a little bit about our background and how we know one another.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a traditional relationship. I have been a resident of the Mecklenburg County jails on multiple occasions. The Sheriff McFadden was not the sheriff at the time, but we have been able to build a relationship over time since he has become sheriff that is built on trust, honesty, and accountability. Sheriff McFadden has, and his goons, as I call them, have arrested me and my comrades on several occasions. But he also went to the magistrate and told them to let us go. He had to arrest us because the city and the county was kind of on him because we was outside the jail for a long time every day. And so he did his civic duty, which was, got rid of the people, but he also did his other duty of making sure that the people got free, right? And so that is what I know of Sheriff McFadden, of trying to balance the issue of public safety, because it is a tightrope oftentimes. We have statistics, and then we have sensationalized news, right? And sensationalized news doesn't always reflect the reality of what's happening in our communities. And so that's why it was important for us to come here and have a conversation so that we can root that conversation in what's real, not the pie in the sky. Because this is Lincoln Heights, a place where I used to get high because I'm in recovery from a drug addiction, right? Where I did some of my stuff right up at that little bottom stove at the top, right? And to be back here and to be in this position today, right, is a reflection of God's grace and mercy. And it's a reflection of what we have to have for one another in community. We also have to have that for our elected officials. No one is perfect, but together we are, right? Because we are in his image. And so we want to reflect what we want to see happen in community, which is have a conversation with the sheriff, allow him the opportunity to discuss and reflect how he feels. And at the end, you'll have the opportunity to do the same thing. And we don't want this to be a one-time occasion. We want to continue to have this conversation because our neighborhoods are the neighborhoods that are over-policed and underprotected, right? And so despite the over-policing of black and brown neighborhoods, we still are the victims of crime. And we still do not see accountability happen when it comes to us. Oftentimes, the things that happen to us go unanswered, go unsolved and unresolved. And so as a community, we can come together and we can make change. And so it starts with conversations like this. So thank you so much, Sheriff.
Thank you.
He's such a good sheriff, y'all. Let me just say. Meaning, he didn't even get the questions beforehand.
I don't want the questions.
He wants to be not just surprised, but he wants to give an authentic answer that he did not have time to rehearse. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that too, because most people want the questions, even myself, beforehand, so I can prepare.
Well, I thank you, and I want to thank you for all the many times that, and I've never seen us at a conflict. I can remember several times that I got nervous because you in Gastonia, and I called you and said, now, that's different over there.
You did. You did.
I said, that's a little different over there.
Look,
Now.
and I still got a scar right
I
here
said,
from Gastonia. Y'all see that? That's
They
Gastonia.
play for keeps over there. So, Chrissy, y'all need to let me know what is going on. And I kept up with you all. And then your other counterpart in Durham,
Muffin.
yeah, I called her sometime and said, you can protest in many places, but are you good? Are you all right?
Yeah.
So our relationship has always been like that. I care about it because my wife still doesn't understand why you love Christy, because we argue about stuff, and then you'll jack me and say, we're going to protest in front of you, but we're going to protest out in front of the detention center, but we need water in the bathroom. And then I had to get water in the bathroom. And so
You still had to pee?
So so let me show you why this is important. And now I'm going to date myself. I saw this cartoon many years ago that I look at life as the same way. And it is Wile E. Coyote and the sheepdog. They woke up that morning, Ralph the sheepdog and Wile E. Coyote, and they're walking down the road. Good morning, Ralph. Good morning, Sam. And they go to this field, and then they split up. Wile E. Coyote sits on the hill, and Sam the sheepdog sits, and when the whistle blow, they fight all day long. So Wile E. Coyote wouldn't get any sheep. At the end of the show, the whistle blows, and the sheepdog dropped Wile E. Coyote, and in the next scene, they're walking back home. So it's never personal with me.
That's right.
And I tell people, it's never personal, it's business. Right. But, you know, to love the city and to work in the city, because people say, are you going to run again? I'm going to have to really think about it, because do I want to subject my wife and family to the hatred and the negativity and the lies and the pies in the skies that we don't talk about? But then when somebody walks up to you and says, Sheriff, thank you. Thank you for baptizing me. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for letting me see my mother's funeral on the tube. I have to look at that. The last person that died in my detention center, I knew him personally. I gave his family death notification, and we celebrated his death, but he still died at my detention center, but not at the hands of our staff. Let's make sure that we get that clear. Because that's that pie in the sky, the sensationalized that they died because of poor health.
Yes. And we're going to get into it.
Okay, get into it.
So I appreciate you for setting that tone. So your leadership, as we just discussed, has often focused on relationships, prevention, and community engagement. I mean, I probably have not ever seen the sheriff's office so much as I've seen since in your tenure, meaning that when I go to Block Love, your office community engagement is outside. When we go to the West Side Fish Fry or Buy Cough Fresh, they're out there tabling. So what does public safety mean to you beyond arrests and incarceration?
I want us to go, when we go to these communities, I don't want my deputies to be known as Deputy so-and-so. I want the community to know our people by first name. When they see us, they stand out and greet the car and not run. And that's what I want. And whatever we need to continue to build that, I want to. Right now, I have to limit my deputies to go to events because people want to see us. And I'm going to say, well, we can't come here, we can't come there. But I put my deputies out there just so that they can be seen and have a great time. Bishop Jenwright called me just before I went on vacation, and he has an event. And I told my deputies, they need to be there. And they need to take care of the people. But, when I'm on that plane and Bishop Jenwright sent me that note, says phenomenal, that's all I want. Yeah. And so I think that we get that. We don't want to be that you come out here and dance one time and throw the football. That's not it. We want you to call us when it's good, call us when it's bad, call us when it's great, and call us to share. Because we have to be more minded of how we treat our people. And that's why I changed the word jail and detention center and inmate to resident, because labeling is important.
Right. Language is important, and we can humanize or dehumanize people through our words. And so, right. Yeah. Let's discuss a bit more about what happens once people are inside the system, particularly inside the detention system. So if you've never been arrested before, you're generally going to be arrested by CMPD, an officer, for whatever reason. They're going to transport you down to the jail and to the bottom, and then they're going to transfer custody from CMPD to your detention officers. You see the magistrate, you begin processing. What are your type priorities for improving the safety? Because as you have mentioned, there have been several deaths since 2018. There's been about 19 deaths And so there's a lot of concerns about what's happening. And it is a layered, let me say this is very layered because we've seen a rise in an epidemic around opiate use and overdose. And so we're going to acutely see that play out in the jail. So how are you addressing the issues such as medical care, mental health access, and the deaths?
Well, wow, that's a good question. So believe it or not, we, in 2019, I didn't wait for the young lady to be killed on the train. We started our behavioral health pod with no money because me and a young man talked about how we grew up and our relatives. So we created the first behavioral health pod. After that, during the middle of COVID, the state asked me, could we try something else? So we tried what they call the RISE program, Restoring Individually, Safely, and Effectively Back, because a lot of people don't understand. As of today, I have at least, I don't know how many more, but I know the top 10 have been waiting to go to trial for 6 years.
Oh, yeah, I checked the report regularly.
Okay. So, because we talked about that, they've been there for 6 years. And so then we can get them to a point and they feel good, but when they get to the criminal justice system and they said, well, we're not gonna hear your case until June, then they're mad and they come back. So it's hard to deal with the emotions inside.
Yeah.
And so that's why we try to deal with the emotions. Now everybody's concerned about opioids. And you know, I went to an event when the county opened up, and I know this is gonna be bad. When the county opened up, they had me to speak. My speech wasn't about opioids. My speech was, where were you all in the 90s? And you know, I'm still dealing with, where were y'all in the 90s? And now we got millions to go into opioids because it has now crossed the tracks and crossed the road and into homes. And so we are fighting that too. So we now have the Medical Assistant Treatment Program called MAT.
Yes.
We just launched that. So we're hoping that these young men and women come inside knowing that they're gonna get help inside. But now we're talking about housing more and more mental health individuals. What most people don't know either, this year, your sheriff's office, the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, now takes care of 36 other counties, sheriff's counties, for their behavioral health. Nobody's talking about that. So we signed a contract that anybody has someone going through mental health, behavioral health, we have signed a contract that they bring their people to our facility, we treat them and send them back.
So you're treating 1/3 of the state mental health
exactly.
patients.
So no, we're not talking about the sheriff is taking on 1/3 of the state,
Yeah.
but now because of House Bill 307, House Bill 307, now we're gonna be taking care of more. And so with no funding.
With no extra funding.
No funding, no even extra funding, no funding.
No funding. So for the people who don't know, I was a substance user, as I stated in the beginning, and when my last stint within the Mecklenburg County Jail, I was pregnant. And so, Gary knows this, I received no prenatal care while I was inside of the facility under the sheriff at that time. And a lot of the work that I do today centers on how we treat pregnant women who are incarcerated, but especially substance using women. And you've always, when we have someone who is pregnant and substance using, there's a program that UNC Chapel Hill has, and so you've always graciously agreed to send folks to treatment. We might not get that type of cooperation from the DA's office, but you've always been willing to send women to treatment rather than having them just sit in a cage and being punished.
Right.
So
Well, I know that you called me one day, you might not remember this. We don't shackle expecting mothers.
Right.
And what I remember about that so well is when you called me, you said, can you get Terry Johnson of Alamance County to agree with you?
And you did.
Me and Terry don't even agree we don't even agree that it's Wednesday.
I know.
We never agreed on anything.
I know.
And I called Terry and I said, Terry, I want to come and talk to you. And he thought I was talking about immigration. I said, can you stand with me on this? And he looked at me and he said, yes. When we went to the Sheriff Association and said me and Terry agreed on something, somebody wanted to hear it because we never agreed on anything.
That's right.
But he said it's the right thing to do. And I will always honor him for, now, you know, we still fight. But we still fight. But that time when he says the dignity of someone,
That's
and
right.
we don't want to leave a mother having to understand that she gave birth while shackled.
That's right.
And so I remember that.
I appreciate that. And what Gary's describing is that I work as a lobbyist today, working on behalf of incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people within North Carolina. And we had a bill that would have banned the shackling, and we needed the sheriffs. And Terry Johnson of Alamance is the most racist sheriff in this state, and he knows that. Like, he's unapologetic about his racism. So I'm not like, it's not breaking news by me saying that. And so I did call Gary and say, I need you to talk to him because I need him. This man stood, not Gary, well, he got him to do it, but Terry Johnson stood beside me, hated me, because I had cussed him out at a protest in Alamance at the Confederate Monument, just so you're clear. And so he knew who I was, but he had to stand and take a picture with me and smile because we got the bill passed. And I was able to,
But I remember, because I asked him, can you do me this favor?
You did a solid.
And I drove to Alamance, and we had this, and the staff thought that we were going to fight in his office.
Yes.
And I closed the door, and we came out, and I said, just make sure I get a photo. And I left and never thought that he would do it because I thought he was saying, let me just entertain you, and then you leave, but he did.
No, and he actually not just did it, he actually stated in his statement that this is not a bipartisan issue.
Yes.
That this is an issue that we should all get around. So shout out to you for that. And I think this is going to lead us to our next question, prevention. A lot of people talk about the young people in this city. We see a lot of other cities have done some innovative things to address the increase in youth activity, especially around, stealing cars, breaking in, little property, stuff that young people do. And so a lot of our young people are struggling and at risk. And so what can your office do to engage youth, which also brings up this topic of Jail North, which is a hot topic.
No, it ain't hot. It's not hot. It's hot if you listen to the other side. I got a solution, but you cannot give it to the sheriff. You cannot give the sheriff. And me and my staff just talked about this week, and I want to show the numbers. We can bring anybody in here, Terry Lassiter, and anybody from the state about the juvenile detention center, and let's let them tell the truth. But we'll get to that too.
Oh, Billy Lassiter, yes. We should. I think I've heard that they want to close the Stonewall Jackson.
No, they don't want to. Okay, let's get this question. I'll tell you all about Stonewall Jackson and this.
Okay,
I got the numbers. We can get to that.
So are there existing or upcoming programs that you have that focused on prevention, mentorship, and second chances for young people? And not just in Mecklenburg County, but since Mecklenburg is such a beacon of the state and people do send their youth here, what can we do for youth in surrounding counties?
We are nationally recognized for taking care of our youth. I have a community engagement unit of 8 to 10 people that connect with our youth every single day in Mecklenburg County. We have the only sheriff's office that has a free FREE summer camp, and we do not feed them hamburgers and hot dogs. So we have that for our youth. We're connected with these kids each and every day. We're going to take these same kids we have this thing called Shop with the Sheriff. We allow the mothers to come and shop for their kids free. Then we take 50 kids to Target, close Target down, and give each kid a $250 gift card to say you can shop. But we have been dealing with these same kids who are going to age out of the program, and they're going to lose their mind. So we have what we can control and what we deal with. We have a group of kids that we know that are going to be good, and they will be good. And how they're good is because when the mother sees that we can help, one mother asked her restaurant, allow us to come and eat there because we have taken care of their kids. We do not connect with our kids. We have programs and everything else, and the kids are nowhere to be found. And we don't invest in our kids. Somebody should give our kids a place that they can go every Friday and Saturday night. The funding should be in this city. I would say this: if the Panthers and the Hornets love us, your contract should say this: any city that you play ball in, you should have a percentage that goes into that city. And I'm not talking about 10%. I'm talking about 0.5%, a half a point. That's thousands of dollars. So because anybody can give out turkeys. I give out turkeys. So you're not making anything by giving out turkeys. Nobody is going to be hungry starting November 1st to January. Nobody's going to be hungry because everybody's going to feed somebody during the Christmas and Thanksgiving holidays and give out socks, shoes, and everything else. But where are you March, April, May, June, and July? So we have to deal with the kids. We have to deal with the kids that way. The summer camp is for mothers who cannot afford camp. Our camp even picks up the kids. So when people are talking about youth diversion, we know those kids are going to be good.
Right.
But then inside the detention center, we also have to touch the 18 to 25, because that's a huge population.
Yes, it is.
I'm telling people to come down and see it and come down and deal with them. That's what they need. People want to get upset with me, let them do it, because I have a recording studio. But you know, them kids are fighting to come to do this music. But when you are expressing what you've been through, but here's why it's so important. I'm sorry, you got me on the tangent. So there's 2 young men in my detention center have written books.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Came from the juvenile detention center. When I walked up to Cameron the other day, he don't mind me saying, because I said, what are you doing bad? You know what he said? The community failed me. He didn't say the police department, he didn't say the sheriff's office. He said, the community failed me. When I walk out, there was nobody to greet me. When I walk out, there was no job. They want to say, since you paid your time, come and work. We have to be honest with our kids, and we're not. We play this game of, well, the whatever group is going to have you one Saturday out of the month. Okay, I'm going to be good for that one Saturday out of the month. But where are you when my mama has put me out and I don't have no place to go? Here's what I tell real men who take care of kids. Let me see your Cash App. Let me see what you're giving somebody. Let me see the money that you have. The kid says, can you give me $65 so I can catch a bus? That's what we don't do well, is meet them where they're at. Nobody want to hear the rags to riches story. We want to say what life is, what does it take to run this house? Sure, I have suits, but you know how much my dry cleaning bill is? Okay, sure, but you know how much to clean that carpet is? You know how much of gas I have to put in my cars? You know what tires cost on a car? You show that young man what really it's like, and it's better. We have a father's initiative. The reason we have it because a little girl says, I want to smell my dad. And I mean, when you want to smell your dad? She said, I want to touch my dad and smell my dad. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, my dad smells like chocolate and I smell like vanilla. And she said, I want to be able to touch my dad. She touches her dad, changed his whole life. So we have to be honest with these young men who don't have fathers, who don't have examples, and don't see a future. Yeah. Because we haven't provided what a future looks like for them. I'm sorry, that's a tangent I'm on.
No, I appreciate you for going onto that tangent. And do you feel like it's appropriate now to talk about Jail North?
Well, it is juvenile detention center that was closed. Why? Because the state of North Carolina targeted Sheriff McFadden and do all these investigations and portrayed that we were understaffed in the middle of COVID. Everybody was understaffed in the middle of COVID. It was called the Great Resignation. That's what it was called. And look it up in the paper, the Great Resignation. So they decided to target me. And I'll never forget the guy who came and said, Sheriff McFadden, I need to inspect your jail. I said, Mr. Chris Wood, it is 2 days before Christmas. Why would you want to investigate my jail? He said, well, I don't know, son. He said, they told me, quote, get out of my deer stand and drive to Mecklenburg County and inspect that detention center. So our detention center was not in bad shape whatsoever. It was that they were saying we don't have the staff at Central. So I'm saying we're good. We're going through what everybody else is going through. But they made it seem like this is something that we had to do. Now, if you ask them today, we never suggested it. We just told county commissioners this is what they could do. Not should do, could do. It's kind of like we do with the wordplay of immigration and refugee. You know how we do that word. So we decided to say we're going to close the detention center. And we close it, and now they want it open back. Surely we can. We can. But it's going to take the state of North Carolina to invest And if they want to know how much it is, I can tell them and what the manpower.
I see.
Anybody can say who's running for this position as sheriff, well, I want to open the detention center. Well, I want to open it too.
Don't make me laugh.
I want to open it too. But do you know how to open it? Do you know what it takes to open it? Do you know how to run it? Have you ever ran one? No. So I know what it's take. Number one, it's going to take 96 staff members to run that facility. Now, state said we can do that. Well, if you can do that, why is the state 46% understaffed at Stonewall
prisons.
Jackson?
Well, just at the prisons in general, the entire prison system is understaffed.
So here's what the state wants us to do. We've had these conversations, and they have bring all the fix-it people to bring to me. They want me to hire everyone. They want me to recruit everyone first. Then they want me to vet everyone out. And then they want me to hire everyone. Okay, those three things at that moment is a minimum of 4 months. Now, after you get 4 months, we have to certifiably train them. How many months is that? Now, when we got all of that, when are we going to open it? Now, where are we going to get 96 people from? All right, now, here's my solution. You have a facility called Stonewall Jackson or Cabarrus. And I said this, and I tell them 100 times. I am willing to open Jail North, close Cabarrus County, allow me to hire every one of those people at the same salary, plus a little, because they'll get more coming to Mecklenburg County. You won't lose any rank. You won't lose any seniority. You won't lose any time because you're still all under the state. So if you got 3 years to retire, you come on over and you still retire under the same retirement. Why is that better? Because you can bring all the resources that you're giving that facility over to my facility. That is almost a 500-bed facility out there. If you want to put some money into it, let's put some money into it. Now, here's the joke they're going to do now. And I was asked the other day, well, who owns the building? I said the sheriff's office in the county. So the significance of that is, well, the plan may be to steal it from the sheriff's office, and we'll open it if we have somebody else. And I said to the guy, that could be a great idea, but here's what I'm going to say. You still need 96 people. Now, 96 people is only the people that you are talking about to run the facility. You're still going to have medical. You're still going to have maintenance. You're still going to have mental health. You're still going to have programs. And you're still going to have food.
I was going to say, you have to have Airmark has to come out there.
So then that is not the 96 people that I'm talking about.
No, that's an
So you're looking at maybe 120 people. Where are you going to hire 120 people and you are talking negatively about law enforcement? So what are you going to do? So then you're going to magically say, everybody would like to open it. Please, I hope that's not somebody's platform, that I'm going to open Mecklenburg County Detention Center. That's what I want to do. Well, I want to do it too. So if I want to do it too and have done it before and know how it needs to be run, then you decide. Because see, here's what people have to say this. And I want to say this may be the first time you're going to hear this. This is not about a candidate. This is about your options. You're going to have options. And if you don't think options is something that we need to think about, turn on the TV and see what options you have now.
That's true. That's true.
So options is better than a candidate or an opponent, because I ain't fighting against nobody, because an opponent is somebody that you fight against. If you believe that you have an option better than mine, okay. But if we have the same option, that we want to open something, and I have opened it, I know what it takes to open it, and I just told you what to do, okay. But you still need to find 96 people.
120.
120.
Okay. So let's discuss those like myself who have already been in the system and have worked hard and are working hard to rebuild their lives after incarceration. I think it was poignant that you said a few minutes ago, a man returned and he said the community failed him. And reentry is often one of the most challenging parts of the justice process. So how does your office support individuals as they reintegrate into their communities after incarceration?
I don't have a problem with reentry. I have North Carolina only post reentry center on the side of my building.
And how did you come up with that great idea?
A lot of people talk to me about what we should do. Y'all sending people to me. Kenny sending people to me. You sending people to me. I have no place to put them. And so then, y'all beat me, tell the truth. Y'all make me think. And then beside housing, that's Kenny's thing.
I think you might have forgotten how we came up with it. But
go ahead.
So basically what happened was we had been outside the jail. He had arrested us so many
That's
times.
right.
He done got us out. And he see, like, we not leaving. We like roaches. Like, we are not leaving. And so he was like, what do y'all want? And I was like, we need somewhere for these people to go. Like,
and you pointed to the side of the building.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you got this, where I used to turn myself in on Friday nights, right?
did.
That little weekend center.
You said, what you doing with that?
Why we can't be right here? And then I told Kenny, I went to Kenny and said, listen, the sheriff done arrested me. I don't really do police like that. I feel like you would be in a better position to, like, work directly with. And so then I did my connection
Y'all
thing,
Kenny
and look
to me.
at life is beautiful now. So yes, talk about this beautiful reentry
Well,
center.
the reentry center is a magnificent thing. It's a crown jewel of the city, and we don't even recognize it.
Right.
And let me tell you why. We did a Facebook posting last Friday. Usually, you see, the detention center is my center, so I can park on the sidewalk like I do. And so I parked there on Friday, and a young man came up, and he said, sir, I just got out of prison, and they talk about this resource center. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, it's a resource center that they said that this sheriff's office has. And I said, yeah, it's right there. I think it's 8 o'clock, they may be open. And so then some people were walking down the street, and they said, sheriff. And he said, you the sheriff? And I said, yes, sir, I'm the sheriff. And I said, what do you need? Quote, I need some help. 14 years. And he said, I need some help. And if anybody want to say it, I'll give them the pictures to it. And that's a good, and why this is so emotional for me, he comes up and he talked to me, and I went inside and took a picture of him leaning on the computer while they were talking. Took another picture of him with his back turned. He walks out and he said, man, y'all got me on my feet. And I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to the transit center. I said, no. He says, no. I said, why? I said, because a couple of years ago, I asked churches, don't give me A, B, C, D, and all this. Give me Uber cards. So a church gave me Uber cards, and I put the Uber cards on my phone. And I said, let me get you a Uber. The thing that touched my heart is he didn't know what an Uber was.
Been gone so long.
14 years. So I got in the Uber. I got a picture. I didn't take a picture of him getting in the Uber, but I took a picture of him. But what amazed him, when the Uber driver came up, the Uber driver got out of the car, took his bag, put it in the back, opened the door for him to go in, and he was looking at me, and I said, this is part of what happens. And he said, how do I get home? I said, he already has it on his phone, so he could take you home. I closed the door because he had a tear and I had a tear. But I have a picture of him driving off, and I said, that's reentry. But what we are failing him is that when these people are ready to come home, are we preparing them for that first day? The reentry center is great. We can prepare for them after they get out, and I'll ask anybody to come and see it. But this is a crown jewel, but nobody talks about it because it's positive. We have to keep it negative. This is a crown jewel that nobody else has. So reentry is huge. Also, we have a program called The Next Great 50. We produce not job ready, we produce companies. And if you come in front of the courthouse and see a coffee truck out of there, that's a product of the Mecklenburg County Detention Center job program. He runs a coffee truck. If you go to Kernersville to a dog farm, I'll give you the address. This guy will train your dogs on a 100-acre farm. Where did he learn this? The Mecklenburg County Detention Center. But we don't talk about that. We talk about the negative. So then it goes back, how am I going to hire 96 people and you talking negative all the time?
Yeah. It makes it difficult. And that's a crucial part of reentry, right?
Reentry is so, we don't understand that when people come home, when you say, I don't know what's online, I don't know what Uber is, and then we cause them to be so disadvantaged. Well, this is what you need to fill out here, but after you fill out this, take this application to Executive Center Drive. Right. Where's that? How am I going to get there? Right. Then when you get there, they give you a clipboard and say, fill this out.
That's right.
Well, you need to hurry up because, it's a lunch break. At that point, they're discouraged. If they can get everything in our resource center, We want that. And if you think that Resource Center don't have anything, come and tell us what we don't have, and we'll get it.
Yeah, or donate.
Or
that
donate.
You can get some stuff in there.
And we'll pick it up.
A crucial part of reentry and prevention is trust, right? And trust between the sheriff's office and the communities it serves. And so that's kind of where I want to shift our conversation into. It's about the trust between the community and the sheriff's office. We've seen a couple high-profile things happening over the last, I would say, year or two at the sheriff's office. You've had some high-ranking folks leave in a fluff in a highway. We see news and lawsuits. And then we saw a scuffle between two of your employees where there was a stabbing between two folks. And so how do you plan to enhance the trust through transparency, communication, and accessibility?
We're no different than anybody else. We are no different than anybody else. The thing that way I failed is, can I trust you? What is your agenda? I didn't ask those questions. What are you bringing to me that I don't know about? Those are things. I trust too easily. My staff will tell you, I always want to give somebody a chance. I took in people that probably I shouldn't have taken in. I groom people that I probably shouldn't have groomed. I allow people to come into my space with my family that I shouldn't have allowed in. We're fine now. But every company, every organization has that. We are no different. I don't know why it is we're so different, because we're the sheriff. I'm a black sheriff. I'm the first black elected sheriff. So
now,
it's,
Sheriff, hold on. Them people stabbing each other up in there.
huh? No.
And we got to admit that ain't
but this is what I'm saying.
normal now.
But here's okay, great. That's a person. People shoot their employees too.
They do. I'm just saying.
So that's what I'm saying. So we're making it like that has never happened. We have employees go back and kill 4 or 5 people. That's the same mindset. But see, here's what we don't understand. What you're talking to someone and you're having a conversation, we don't know that conversation. When you say, what's the mindset of a person who goes back and kills the manager, the assistant manager, and everybody else? I had that on East Boulevard. A young man walks in, kills the manager and the assistant manager. There is no difference that when people are mad and fed up and their mindset to say do it, I can't control that. If we did, we will stop all violence. That is part of our life now, which is crazy. We don't even get upset. Think about this. We don't get upset about school shootings.
Who is we?
Society.
Look, I'm
we
black.
see it.
You know, when
no,
you say
we
for
see
black
it.
people, it's who is we?
Well, see, here's what I'm saying. We see a young man, a young boy, 2 years old, is killed, and his 16-year-old brother brought him downstairs. We don't talk about that. So if we talk about what happens in the detention center, well, can I talk to the community activist who's in charge of that community? They said councilman or councilman or city councilman or commissioner, this happened in your district. Why we have 5 murders in your district?
Well, I think the difference is, the distinction is that when we talk about violence in the community, that's in the community, right? Those are community folks. Your staff are community members as well, and they are held to a higher professional standard.
We place them in a higher professional standard.
Okay.
Let me say this. What's wrong with it is you all, the community give us something that we never asked for.
Right.
People placed this on us. We are ordinary people. You know why? Because both of those people came from the community with problems or had a problem or had a differences. They brought that from home. And that's what people have to understand. There is no difference in people getting mad.
Oh, I get that.
But
There's no difference.
But we say hold us to the higher standards. But is that really, you hold us to a higher standard?
Sheriff, I'm going to have to disagree. Now, this is where we do, love each other real good, because we're going to agree to disagree. Because from my perspective, from a community member, there is a higher standard because you are getting paid, because this is your job. It's the same way I'm going to hold an attorney to a professional standard, or a social worker to a professional standard, or a doctor to a professional standard. That's what I'm going to do. And then on the flip side, you say we're community members, but then you ask for special treatment when y'all do stuff.
No.
Because community members are held to a standard of accountability. Community members get locked up. Now, I'm not saying these people did not get held accountable and that they did not get locked up, because they did. But in law enforcement in general, there is we not like y'all until something happens, and then we want to be treated like everybody else.
I think that's what people put on us, because here's why. When my
think we
trash,
put it on y'all?
when my trash is not picked up, who should I hold him a high standard? That's his job. He's supposed to pick up my trash, and when my trash is not picked up, I hold him to a standard of picking up my trash.
I think that's apples and oranges.
No.
Because it could be a systemic failure, right? The truck might not have crunk up this morning, so your trash didn't get
But what
picked up.
makes this
That's
lady-
not the same as I came to the job and injured someone on purpose.
But if I'm angry, I'm upset.
I get it.
We talk
You,
about
the
mental
customer.
health. So we talk about mental health. We've seen that just now with the train. I don't know this person's mind.
Yeah.
We see this is what we get. I think what's wrong, society give us the standard, but don't say, okay, these are the things that I'm holding you accountable for. No, we just say because we're paying you a certain amount of money, I'm going to, okay, so you're getting paid $200,000, so I'm going to hold you to a higher standard. But don't hold me to that same standard if I'm making $40,000.
No, it's not that. It's because my tax dollars may or may not be paying your $200,000.
Well, see, here's what we
there's
say
a
too.
difference when my money directly funds the violence in the community
No.
versus
It's-
this community member who makes $40,000 decides to be violent.
Let me help you with
apples
that.
and oranges.
It's our money. Because see, here's what people don't understand. We pay taxes too.
We pay taxes
So where does my money go?
to the same stuff.
Okay, so
we
then
added that.
I'm kind of like self-employed then. Because see, people like to say, my money, you paying me. No,
He said, I'm
we pay,
self-employed.
no, that's what I'm saying. We pay money too.
Wait a minute, he said,
We
I'm
pay, well, listen,
self-employed.
if anybody said, well, tax exempt me, then you can say, my money,
We going to the penitentiary
our money.
if we do that.
No, our money, because we pay taxes too.
So, but how can we enhance the trust? Okay, so you say that community and society puts a certain standard on you all. And from my perspective, whether we put it on you or not, you guys carry that mantle. How can we bridge that gap? Because there is a gap.
No, it's a gap for somebody else. We don't have a big gap where we are. We have a gap, but I think that we have done a great job of taking care of that gap. The community has to understand we're not going to be perfect and you're not going to be perfect.
Oh, no.
Okay, so here's what I want to say since we're talking. 90% of the time we talk about law enforcement and community. You know what we hear all the time? Y'all need more training.
All of us.
Yeah, we need more training. So we go out and be trained, but what does community do? We still wait to be trained. No, we just don't do anything. We just want y'all to be better trained. And so I think that's what we need to talk about. When we have this thing called ABLE, Active Bystander of Law Enforcement. My agency was one of the first, maybe the first or one of the first to take on what they call active bystander of law enforcement. My deputies can't not stand by and watch somebody mistreat a citizen because you are now held accountable and you've been to training. That is a part of what we do in the community, but there's a part of the community in that training that I want to teach to the community.
Okay.
And that's something we say. This is my iPhone, not yours. I can film all day, but how are you going to film it? But what we do when we film it, no, Joe, I got you, Joe. Stop resisting, Joe. Do what they say, Joe. Well, you just filmed it for us because you told him to stop it. When we say, what do you do on a traffic stop? You say, why do I have to do that? Because you don't want to die. We want that bridge, but we still can't say, this is what we do, this is what we do. We want the community to understand use of force. We
I
don't.
understand.
We don't even understand use of force continuum. What is that? That means
Spectrum.
that's from you can use pepper spray,
nudge.
baton, hard hands, or violence. They say, well, why don't you shoot him in the leg?
No,
There
that's
is not a
the standard.
target in any police department or
Center
agency
mass.
that have legs. Because at that point,
Get off my nerve.
I'm telling you, but at that point, it is sure to be deadly force. So if it gets to that point, to be justified, it's deadly force. Now here's the crazy part that most people don't know. The United States law that governs all use of force in America, where all police officers are involved, was created here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Wow. I
It's
didn't know
called Brown versus Connor. It's the United States groundbreaking decision to say what you can do, can't do, and it's called reasonable objectiveness.
that. Oh, yes.
And so then that law was created here. on West Boulevard. 90% of America doesn't know that. They teach it. So then when you're talking about use of force, can your citizens be educated enough to articulate what they did, what they didn't do, or what they saw? That is where we want to help them.
Okay.
Because what happens is, well, I was reaching for my driver's license. Well, you ever thought about when the officer is outside of his car, he should have heard me. Well, no, he's outside of his car, and you know what he's hearing? Woo, woo, woo. He doesn't hear that. And so if we had that ability to start doing that, which we are, and which we will, help our young men and women say, this is how you get home safely.
Yeah.
And then when you do articulate to Internal Affairs, OPC,
That's right.
you would know how to do it.
So we teach know your rights, but it's
Right.
survive the encounter, right? Because you can have all the rights that you want, but arguing them on the side of the road with the officer is not the brightest
It's not gonna
idea.
work.
It's not going to work out for
Not
you.
gonna work.
You're going to get that, you're going to discover that continuum of use of force, right, if you don't comply. And I think what came up, I was having a conversation in Greensboro a few weeks ago with the community there, and the officers in Greensboro routinely ask people to step out of the car because they have the right to do so. But the average person does not think that they have to get out of the car at a traffic stop. They don't understand that it's a Terry frisk, and that U.S. groundbreaking decision allows officers to ask anybody who they have a reasonable suspicion to step out of the car. And I know for me, I'm thinking, if I don't get you my license and my stuff, what I'm getting out for? What we getting ready to do?
And then when you don't get out, and they keep telling you,
Now you're
then
getting ready to
it's
get beat.
delay and obstruct.
Now you be getting beat. Yeah, that's what's happening. Well, thank you. That information is crucial, and thank you for sharing that. Now, before we turn to the community, because we're going to open it up for folks to have any reflections, and if you have, I'll talk about it in a minute because I got a word for y'all. The vision for the future. What's your vision for the future of the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office? What changes do you hope to see in the next few years that you hope could make this more community and justice focused? And yeah,
we're going to tackle mental health is a big issue. We're going to tackle mental health. I don't know how much money the county has, but I heard millions for opioid use. I want to deal with that. And how I want to deal with that, bring that money to the detention center. Put the money inside the detention center. We have the MAT program. We need more programs. But the mental health is a huge thing. We never came out of COVID. We're going through mental issues right now, looking at the news every day. That's huge. But housing is a big issue. I can't do much about housing, but we're on the verge of doing something about housing as the sheriff's office.
I mean, you're technically the largest shelter in the city.
We are.
So you are housing people.
Let me tell you how mad this makes me. Kenny Robinson is sitting in the audience. And Kenny may not remember this. He got mad one Sunday, and he was just driving up and down the road. And then I was coming out of the building. I was mad, and I don't even know why I was mad. And we were mad. And Kenny was trying to find somebody housing. I had just walked out of a building, and I walked Kenny into that building. And at that moment, I could have housed 96 people without even thinking about it. And it was the building, it was an administrative building, which was work release building.
I was going to say the old work release building?
But it had beds.
I know.
96.
Yes, I'm aware.
It still had the pillows on it. It still had the mouthwash on
desk in there.
it. They had everything. So
thing was
why
right.
couldn't we say, let's put 96 people there?
Because this county didn't want to pay the $6 million to get it up to par. That's why, because it needed to be
Well, then
up to code.
I'll go back to all these ball players who are in my city. Can I get 0.5%?
Yeah.
Throw it in a fund.
Right.
You know, taking people to the store every day doing Christmas is cute. You know, why haven't you invest into your city that you play ball in?
You're right, that you're going to raise your children in.
Right. So, and you know, that might be not good, but not 1%, point.
Of a percent. No.
0.1%.
And compound it. That's
And then you put that in a
lot of money.
fund, and then we can take care of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, but housing, reentry, and mental health, those are the things. But still, when I say to love the community, just to give, just to be in the community, I would never be out of your eyesight, whether I'm the sheriff or not. That's the worst thing you got. I'm always going to be around.
We appreciate that. Well, thank you so much, Sheriff McFadden.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been a good
We only
conversation.
disagree on one thing. I'm happy.
Yeah.
And we really didn't disagree on that.
So now we're going to move into our reflection part of the evening. There is a microphone in the middle aisle. If you have some reflections that you would like to share about your hopes for the future of the Sheriff's Department, this is your opportunity to do so. If you have any questions for the Sheriff, this is an opportunity for you to ask questions, but let me be clear. It needs to be a question. If I don't hear a question, I will cut you off, because a lot of you all disguise comments as questions. And that's okay if you want to make a comment, but say that it is a comment.
Please ask the question.
Or ask a question.
Because I definitely have the
okay?
answer.
So this is not to censor, but it's ask a question or use your reflection. And please be sure to use the mic so that everyone can hear you for accessibility purposes.
Hi, ma'am. Who are you and what is your name? Hi, ma'am. What is your name?
My name
Who
is
are you?
Christy Puckett.
Christy Puckett?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you from?
I am here from Charlotte, North Carolina, Nations Ford Road.
What high school did you attend?
I went to Olympic High School.
I went to East Met.
Oh,
It's
good.
nice to meet you.
Nice
My
to
name is
meet you.
Jessica
Nice to meet you.
Nickerson Willis.
Thank you.
I'm divorced. Been divorced since January 2019.
I understand. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Another question?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
You talked about a lot of programs that you have for the young men down here. What kind of programs do you have for the young women?
We have a lot of programs for women. We have the motherhood program. If you come down, I invite you. Our women now are going through a lot of mental health programs.
What about to make money? What
To
kind
make money?
Yeah, money making programs.
Anybody want to bring one? I can.
Teaching them skills like you do the guys.
We teach the business school, but they want to create. We had 4 young ladies created their own business with an LLC and a website.
That's just great. What about the rest of them?
Well, if they want to join. No, but I'm saying we can't understand this. It is open. If they want to, we can't force anybody to do it. It's open. But we have to understand that our women are going through a lot. They have no visitation. Why? People don't come and visit them. Nobody comes to see them. So they get depressed. I talked to a young lady yesterday. You know what she said? I'm back in this program because I went to court and they didn't do anything, and I have to come back to this mental health part again. Thank you. We're doing a graduation. I invite you to our next grade 50 graduation in a couple of days. Please.
All right, so my question for you, Sheriff, is how do you find the balance in when people are transitioning? So you have a lot of people who are in and out of the facility, right, that don't have family, that don't have people that care about them. And because of how you are with the community and how you show so much love to the men and women of Mecklenburg County, how do you find the balance in discipline and love to keep them from coming back to what feels comfortable? Because sometimes the detention center feels comfortable for them. So how do you find that balance?
I give them love first. It is hard because a lot of people don't receive consistency of love. And that's what I want people to understand. We can do all these things, but if you don't, when that young girl says, I want to smell my daddy and touch my daddy, do this, as one person told me last week. If you want to go on a real fast, here's a real fast. Don't hug somebody for a week. Don't hug somebody for a week. Don't touch somebody for a week. Don't kiss your spouse for a week. Don't hold your hand for a week. That sends them into a mental depression. On top of holidays, on top of, I don't have an and. I didn't understand this until a couple of years ago. The guy says, I said, man, well, you said you didn't do this. Why are you taking a plea? He says, because I've been sitting here for 3 years,
I already tell you why he said it.
and this is, I can see the end. he said, if I sit there and don't know when the end is, it's depressing. So if I know the end, I feel better. And so balancing for me is hard because we try not to punish, we try to rehabilitate. And so with that, with the love that we try to give, that I'm the worst, my staff will tell you I'm the worst. The love that, I hate to say this, the love that Kenny knows that there's a young lady that left. We rehabilitated her to a point. She had a voucher, am I right, Kenny? She had a voucher, but the system kept bothering her. And Kenny finally got her a house. And Kenny invited me to the house. So when we have rehabilitated her, but where the love came in, I went to her house. Kenny told me she was getting the house. I come in uniform. He still may have a picture of it. I'm standing there about to cry. No, I didn't cry. And so then when I opened the refrigerator, she had nothing in it. The taxpayers' dollars that I had went into that refrigerator. And that's been 2 years ago. If you call her now, you know what? I'm still putting food in that refrigerator. But then she left my center. I don't brag about that because, like I said, that's people who need that, believe in their sheriff, and I have to give them that. So that my balance is worse than punishment, is rehabilitation. But my balance is, as my wife said, how can you save everybody and give everybody? But showing people love who've been incarcerated is unbelievable. If we don't understand that, showing people love who've been incarcerated, I was telling somebody, the biggest love I love is when a mother calls me and gives me an assignment. Mm-hmm. And then she said, so you did that? I'm like, yeah, it wasn't hard. I sure appreciate it. It's a lady now, Sammy said, my son's back. I know I'm gonna be calling you. And I said, you know, I kind of miss you because you called me. And so it is hard to balance when you truly care about your community. Mm-hmm. That's my problem. I'm sorry, I'm getting hoarse.
I think the pastor can correct me if I'm wrong, but in his letter to the Hebrews, Paul said to remember those in prison as if you were bound with them.
It is.
And so it sounds like you, part of your love is not forgetting who people are and that they are people that have done potentially, maybe, some bad things, but they are still good people.
But there are great people. And, you know, when my wife never came until she started coming this time, the one thing that she remembered, because she never came into anything that I'd done prior to this. Mm-hmm. And she couldn't understand why I would get up in the middle of the night and go down there, you know, and make somebody, because the mother called me and said, he don't have this, and I'll go. My staff will tell you. But when my wife came into the women's pod one day, and she said, one lady says, what's the weather like outside? My wife says, what? No, I just want to know what the weather's like outside today. Tell me what the weather's like. Well, can you look out? You know, I'm thinking, she's thinking, can you look? No, she said, I want you to tell me what it's like. I want you to tell me, I don't want to see it. I want you to tell me, I feel it, you dramatize it. Now, every holiday, we buying everybody what they need inside. But that's my gift, that's her gift to the women. Gotcha. So, I'm sorry.
No, you appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my question was, what rehabilitation things do you have for women who are mentally, not mentally challenged, who were excommunicated from the family or excommunicated from their family due to postpartum or something? That didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. You don't never really first part from your family. You just take a break because they're stressing you out. So what do you do for the women that take breaks and left out?
We have a pod that's 1,700, right? 1,700. I wish you come and see it. It doesn't even look like a detention center. It doesn't look like a jail. And we try to get them back to where they can reconnect with their family. Actually, I'm reconnecting with a sister who has not talked to her family for 3 years. And she didn't want anything to do with her family. And she's out now because her sister came up and sat in the window and they had a conversation and a misunderstanding. That's something for 3 years. So if y'all want to come down, we welcome you.
Does anyone else have any reflections or questions for the sheriff right now? I want to be respectful of everybody's time. It's about 8 o'clock, and it's the time that we said that we would end. All right. If all hearts and minds are clear, we will be available for private one-on-one conversations for a few minutes. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm not sure about the sheriff, but we'll stay for a little while.
I'm married. I'm going to have to.
So thank you to everyone who came out tonight, everyone who spoke, who asked questions. Remember that our voices are powerful, and they remind us that safety is not just about law enforcement. It's about community care. Sheriff McFadden, again, thank you for joining us and listening to the people you serve.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone for showing up, engaging, and creating space for dialogue. We want to continue working toward a Mecklenburg County where safety, dignity, and justice belong to everyone, not just people in Ballantyne. Have a good evening, and thank you for being part of this conversation.
And I want to thank everybody for coming, but I want to thank the shepherd of this house, Bishop Walker, and his lovely wife. When they said Macedonia, I was happy to come here. Let me tell you now.
Yes, thank you very
I'm
much.
always welcome here. I hope I'm welcome at any church. And let me tell you, I ain't running for no conversations, nothing, because this is a mission from God, whether you believe it or not. When I stood in my foyer and I said, God, this is what you want me to do, and I have to understand this, and I'm not the Bible scholar, God never told Moses to help Noah and never tell Noah to help Moses. I know this is my crown, and I know this is my battle, and I know this is my fight. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're coming to fight me, bring a lunch and some Band-Aids. That's all I'm telling you.